But I can tell you, I fortunately had been in on the streets 4 or 5 years before June 4th. I also was a keen observer of the transition program. But there's one thing that happened with the elections, since we talked about elections. I tell you, the government, the military regime then, that is the AFIC, had no commitment as a corporate entity to any of the political contenders. And that helped a lot to make that particular election perhaps the fairest and the freest in Ghanaian history, because of the non-commitment of the AFIC as a corporate body. Of course, individually, some of them had their own commitments, and I know about all of them and where they stood and where they voted, because after the voting, some of us were together and we were teasing each other as to what the outcome would be. But as a corporate body,
so June 4th has gone into the annals of history to join those days that later lost their significance as far as the holiday issue is concerned. The 24th February's, the 13th January's, and the June 4th, the 31st December's. June 4th is no longer a holiday. But the NDC found occasion, or rather the June 4th movement found occasion to celebrate it. Last year they held a public lecture at which the famous or infamous boom speech was delivered. And this year they have also held a lecture. Former President Rawlings was at the lecture and he spoke. We'll be showing you excerpts of some of the things he said and we'll be discussing it. But more importantly, we are looking at the relevance of June 4th to our current political culture and our political life. My guest in the studio, Captain Joel Soul, who was not quite a member of the June 4th activities, but he was there. And also Mr. Kwekubaku, an authority on the relevance of June 4th and why June 4th came about. And in defense of June 4th, I'm sure Kwekubaku should write a book titled In Defense of June 4th. And Dr. Ben Kumbo, a member of parliament, who this afternoon also delivered a lecture at the June 4th celebration, or the June 4th lecture organized by the June 4th movement.
Battle for the soul of the nation on June 4th. Fly Lieutenant Rawlings has gone out of power. John Kufuor was in power. He had cancelled the June 4th holiday. This was the first June 4th celebration after the holiday had been cancelled. And where else to ventilate the issues? Good Evening Ghana was always the platform since 2001. And that was a 2003 video. We have another video to share with you. And I told you next week I'll tell you why we are doing this. Another video is coming up and we'll share with you. That one has no sound, so I'll be speaking over it. There's an interview I had with Al-Hassan Suhini. At that time he was a journalist. Yeah, so this is still empty. This is Idris Haruna, the former minority leader in parliament and former minister. Who is the other guest? I can't see well. Okay, this is another one. Who am I speaking to? Ecospio Gabra. They all used to come on the show. And at this time, I started growing. I started growing. This is Al-Hassan Suhini, a member of parliament for Tamales North, I think it is. Tamale North, member of parliament. This is another one. And guess who it is? Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagman, the Speaker of Parliament. They all used to come. They all used to come. Is that the same show? Okay, they've gone back to the same show of the June 4th situation. Okay, so a lot more coming up. A lot more coming up. Okay, so it's 29 minutes on top of that, 10 o'clock, or if you like, 31 minutes past 9 o'clock, and we'll be getting to our full interview session. Tonight, we will be talking about the IPAC meeting that happened in last Tuesday. Apparently, we had come on air on Tuesday soon after the meeting had ended, so we didn't have much information. We have now been briefed on the full situation of what happened at the IPAC. It was quite interesting. There we have an Ikuadonko video, and then we have some article as well. We'll show you that, and then we'll show you the NDC demonstrations. So, producer, get that ready. Now, though, I received a text message. I'm going to read it to you. I received a text message. And the text message was from Ambassador Kwesi Pratt. Apparently, at the time that I was talking about him and his running mate, he had not been in town. And he had been abroad. And his friend said that he had gone for medical checkup and so on and so forth. But it appears Kwesi Pratt is back and he's happy, strong and healthy. So on Friday at, viewers, guess what, 3:07 a.m. 3:07 is when I got the text. He said, Paul, I came back to Accra yesterday morning. How are you? Question mark. So we've had some interesting exchanges based on his son-in-law's new role as running mate for Alan Chemating. And so when I saw the text, I told my brother, Kwesi Pratt is back. Oh. So let's do something to honor his memory. I have to say this, that I was completely honored on the occasion when Kwesi Pratt invited me to the Socialist Forum. You know, I started talking about this Kwame Nkrumah issues, and I'd been debating Kwesi Pratt, and he said that if you think you are strong, come to the Socialist Forum and come and deal with it. So I said a prayer, I called my people, we did our research, and went to the Socialist Forum. When we finished the event, the verdict, I went to Kwesi Pratt when people had left, and I said, Kwesi, what's the verdict? He shook me and said, all I can say is that you're a very, very brave man. That's all I can say. You have a lot of courage, and maybe you should keep it up. That's all I can say. I said, did I do well? That's what I want to know. He said, I don't know. I say you're a very brave man. Then we all laughed. But I thoroughly enjoyed the company that night. And we have some 8 minutes to get prepared for our main video. So I told the producer to put that up, and let's get ready and put on social media again. Many of you have seen this many, many times, but I'd like to see it again. Here it is.
When Kwesi Pratt called me, inviting me to this forum, I didn't know that the gathering will be so august, almost intimidating. Alhaji Hudu Yaya, Sylvanus Tamaklo, Leo Kran, people who have been members of parliament, who have sung the slogans, and people who we read about in school. But I'll do my best to discharge the duty according to the research that is available to me, which I'll share with all of you. At the outset, though, I have to set out political philosophy. And Comrade Chicho Poku, when he was calling both of us comrades, looked at me with a smile, wondering whether I am a comrade. I don't know whether I'm qualified to do that, but I set out as a socialist, as I believed in the beginning as an undergraduate student. My first encounter with order and life would be with the Catholic Church, and I was being groomed as a mass boy. So in Burma camp where I grew up, I followed Father Kumesi, Lieutenant Colonel Kumesi then he was, as one of his favorite mass boys. And the key expressions of the Catholic Church is with the communion service. And in the communion service, you will identify the equality of men, the way in which the Catholic Church perceives it. The Father discharges the communion to all men in the same manner. And so equality of men and that kind of socialism sort of influenced me at the beginning. Of course, born in the mid-70s to a young army officer, I was around about 5 to 6 years old when the 31st December coup occurred. And in those days, I lived in Burma camp, a place called St. Anthony Lane. And it was very close to the command headquarters and very close to the house of the brigade commander then. His name was Colonel Abana. And so the leaders of the coups struck excitement in a lot of the army officers, the younger army officers, the lieutenants and the captains at that time. I was later to learn that that excitement that the coup struck in the army officers was because a lot of them were concerned about the attitude of Mr. Riley Poku, who was the Minister of Defense at the time, and it was thought that he did not treat the army officers well. So later on I understood it. But by this time my father was a captain, and so the names of Aloga Akatapori, Zarayebo, Yen Yen, were names that I heard regularly. I associated with them even though I didn't know them, and it struck a certain positive impact of something that I didn't quite understand. Later on, though, I was to find out that these heroes of the revolution became renegades of the PNDC, as it was told that the PNDC did a U-turn in its own political philosophy sometime around 1983. Then, as an undergraduate, I was part of those who chanted the slogans of Che Guevara, of Chris Hani. We sang Inkonto Wesizwe. We used to sing Cho Cholozo as if that will bring Mandela out of prison, but it didn't. We were also buoyed by the maltreatment that the United States meted out, especially to Fidel Castro and Cuba. We were also buoyed in this position when we read about the civil rights movement, about Martin Luther King, about the blessed Elijah Muhammad, who actually begat Malcolm X, and who then recruited Cassius Clay to become a key part of the whole civil rights movement. Cassius, of course, became Ali and ended up as one of the celebrated sportsmen of all time. So being socialist was great. It was the in thing to be. It was fighting university authorities and singing the slogans. That was what it was at the time. But then, as I proceeded along, I read about freedoms and the inalienable rights of men, that these were guaranteed by God. I noticed that our first Republican Constitution did not have a clear human rights guaranteed charter. I read some of the cases in law school and I realized that arguments had been made in Ghana in the courts that were successfully made against what I thought was the inalienable rights of men. Then I became born again, so I sort of read also the Bible, and I began to accept that the central theme of man is God. I subscribe to the tenets of the God of Abraham, who revealed himself as Elohim in Christ. And it seemed to me that center-right political philosophy to discharge the obligations that God had placed upon man in the Garden of Eden became a spontaneous order. I understood capitalism to mean individual initiative to be developed under freedom and the right for individuals to reap their labor, and that the consumer is the most important person in the whole equation. So I also read in those days the epistles of Dr. J.B. Dankwa. I was influenced by Margaret Thatcher and the kinds of things she did. I noticed that when England changed to Tony Blair, he pursued almost the same center-rightist policies of Margaret Thatcher, and he described it as New Labour. It occurred to me then that perhaps being center-right maybe is the way to go. And then I became quite disappointed with what happened in Angola, because the battle between the MPLA and UNITA was one of the central themes of conversation, and it was one of the central themes that divided the center-right people and the center-left people. Eventually, the MPLA won the war, but the post-war Angola was more capitalist than anyone could think. In fact, today, Angola and Luanda is the most expensive country to live in. Eduardo dos Santos' daughter is the richest African woman. And so these things sort of strengthened my resolve that perhaps this whole left-wing thing that we had done through the university and the Che Guevara and all of that, just perhaps we required a bit more research for us to draw a conclusion. You look at the situation in South Africa today, the people whose slogans we used to chant, Cyril Ramaphosa, Tokyo Sexuale, Jacob Zuma, look at the way in which they conduct affairs. It's very, very far from the letter of socialism. And these matters sort of strengthen the resolve that perhaps we have to have another look at this philosophy that we are acquainted with. Not that Cyril is doing anything wrong, but in terms of the letter of socialism that was preached widely in those days, and if you look at what has happening now, it may well be that they had also changed the philosophy, as indeed did the PNDC in 1983, which set out also as a socialist group. Then I looked at President Kufuor when he took office in 2001, and since the time of Kwame Nkrumah, the record will indicate that no other president has achieved such important social interventions as President Kufuor, who should normally be a center-right person, did. And sort of all of that influenced me. So I'm just saying this at the outset so that the distinguished audience will know where I have come from and where I have struggled towards, so that that will definitely influence the kinds of things I said. And I had said that I read the epistles of Dankwa and I read it thoroughly. And I have also read Dr. Nkrumah, who's very distinguished, but perhaps that informs the kinds of things that I'll be saying.
Charlie, politics is sweet, oh. Politics is sweet. Let's not spoil it. So, Ambassador Kwesi Pratt, welcome back to town, and let's do another socialist forum. It's election time. I'm prepared to come and debate all the policies of right wing and left wing. We, the right wingers, believe that God will multiply the work of our hands. We believe that there is God. The left-wingers think there is no God. We think there is God. Well, did they say there's no God? Nancy Pelosi says she's a Catholic, but she's a proud Democrat, isn't she? Is that a contradiction? I don't know. Tonight, I'm beginning to sound philosophical because I have two philosophical presentations. Professor H.S. Sekanko is back in town, and he's going to give us the keys to who is going to win the American election tonight. We had a very interesting discussion today because I was watching CNN last night, and I saw quite a bit. So we're going to do that tonight. Tara is also here with the second part of her presentation. But let's go to church. Let's go to church. Before we get to our big story, which is about the Electoral Commission's meeting with the IPAC meeting on Tuesday, there was the big church event that I said I was not going to say anything about. I'll still not say anything about the declarations, but I'm looking at a video on social media today and everybody's gossiping about it. I like us to share the gossip in a bigger forum now. So put the videos on, let's start the gossip. Who is this, who is that? Who was there, who was not there? Why was he there? Why didn't he? Ajina Asare was not there. But Sam George, who is Ajina Asare, was introducing Osubimpa. Osubimpa says he would never listen to Ajina Asare. Ajina Asare is NDC pastor, but Ajina Asare wasn't there. Sam Kranchankra was there. Archbishop Duncan Williams wasn't there. Reverend Otabel was never going to be there. He doesn't go to these things, Reverend Otabel. He's a pastor, and he just sort of does his pastoring. Whether it was MPP or NDC, I'm sure Reverend Otabel was not going to go. Okay. The Archbishop Duncan Williams was not there. Reverend Kusi Paul Victor Kusi Boateng was not there. Reverend Kusi Apia was not there. Steve and Stanley Benson were not there. So who was there? Was I there? Were you there? Let's see the video. Yeah, so there you go. That's the. Sorry, the video is an unprofessional one, so it looks quite. Sam Kranchankra, the first identified, arriving at the event. Okay, it was quite well attended, and this is a clergy from the Catholic. This is President John Dramani Mahama. Also Sam Kranchankra also welcoming President Mahama to the event. Oh yeah, the worship is going on. I saw Reverend Ibrahim Labi. Abraham Latte, is that his name? Yeah, Abraham Latte, I think it is. Yes, he is there as well. And somewhere in white, Reverend, what's his name again? He came on this show the other day. This is Valerie Sawyer. Who else can you see? Oh, the picture too is rolling too fast. Nigel Gazy, Reverend Nigel Gazy. Reverend Obofor just passed in the video. He actually asked a question. I was a bit confused. Was it a question and answer session for the president, or was it just prayer? And then there was also a declaration on the head of President Mahama that he will be able to win the election in December. That's what they said. There it is. President Mahama kneels down. Usubempa. Sam George was the MC. But Reverend Ibrahim Latte, Reverend Usubempa in your shot. I thought it was a good event, wasn't it? I thought it was a very, very good event. There you go. Elvis Efri Ankra. The one who was in the Juju video is also in church. You remember the Juju video? The one that they... I told you to get put on for me today, producer, please. Don't tell me you didn't get it. Get it for me. Let's get to the touch screen now and do our assessment of something. Hey, they left the thing here. Okay, so let's see who are the final people. Reverend Pastor Wengam, I know him very well, good man. Reverend Abraham Latte, good man. Reverend Osubempa, the apostle. I believe this is Odadie, Reverend Mama Makwe. He's Odadie president for a long time. Sam Kranchankra holding the mic. I'm not sure this. This Nigel Gazy also on the stage. I'm not sure the idea behind inviting some of them to the stage to lay hands on the president. But well, it works like that. They are patriotic fathers, they call them, you know, the apostolic fathers. There's fathers and there's junior members. So on this occasion, I believe that they had this one there. Okay, now let's get to. Oh, I left my phone. Let me bring it. Sorry, 1 minute. Yes. All right, I need my phone by me all the time because my numerous viewers who are producers of the program are sending me texts. You have left this one out. You didn't say this one. This one, you didn't say it. Why are you saying our own more than somebody's own? We don't like that. Every day we send you something, you don't use it. Okay, so I'll use it. All right. Now, let's get to elections since 1992. The dates of the voting and producer, you didn't add the position of the ballots. It was very important. But I'm sure we can manage it. The position of on the ballot, the notice of poll. All right. So tonight we're going through to just give you some information on just to remind you on the notice of poll, and then we'll do some election videos. So they'll tell me which one they have. Very soon, Dr. H.S. Sekanko is coming into the studio. You can let him take a seat now. We'll be taking him first. J.J. Rawlins, the election was fought on 3rd November. Now, this was just for historical purposes, for the young people to understand. This was the only presidential election in the Fourth Republic that was fought on 3rd November. all other elections have been fought on 7th December. And I'll explain to you what happened. So, in 1992, the elections for parliament was to be a different date from the election of the president. It was widely believed that the ideologues of the PNDC and the NDC were confident that Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was going to win the presidential election. They were, however, not so confident that the NDC party will win the parliament because, you know, within the NDC itself or within the PNDC itself, some PNDC actors did not join the NDC. Some were with the Eagle Party, like the famous now, unfortunately passed Michael Susudis, who was very, very close to the NDC. Michael was very, very close to the NDC, but he was Eagle Party. People like President Mahama and co, they were with PHP. Mohamed Mumuni was with PHP. So there was PHP, there was NIP, there was NPP, there was so many parties. And then Nkrumah's front was very heavily divided, and the Dankwa Buziai's front was united. The argument is that the ideologues of the PNDC, NDC felt that if they were to run the elections concurrently on the same day, the MPP might win the parliament. It might become problematic. So they're going to run the presidential first. JJ was going to win. They're going to use that as a foundation to then leap into the presidential election, ask people to vote for JJ's party. In fact, at that time, JJ's party was not just the NDC, because JJ was also the founder of the Egle party, Egle. Well, let me explain to you why we say Eagle and Egle. Those of you who are young. So the party was called the Eagle Party. There was a provision in the law, which is the political parties law. Nana Akufo-Addo went to court to challenge the political parties law, but he was not successful because the judge declined jurisdiction. Now, what was in the political parties law? The political parties law at that time said that you cannot use the symbol, emblem, name of a party that has existed in Ghana before. Now, this was done, as Obeda Samwa told us in an interview, this was done because the NDC had to form a new party. They were worried that the Nkrumahs will pick the CPP and the Dankwa Buziais will pick Progress Party or PFP or something like that. In fact, the Dankwa Buziais were going to pick PP, Progress Party, which is the party of 1969 that won massively in the election in that year. So the political parties law was strategic to get everybody to start afresh in terms of name, symbol of political parties. So the Eagle Party was called Eagle. And then somebody went to court and said that they can't call themselves Eagle because Eagle is an emblem of state on the coat of arms. So they removed the A from the EA to Eagle and it became Egle Party. So when you hear those of us who are old saying Eagle or Egle Party, that is it. I mean, time has really passed because the founder of the party, Michael Susudis, has recently passed. I understand that there's a state burial for him very soon. He was cousins with Flight Lieutenant Rawlings and very, very close to him. So this was the situation in 1992, and that is why the election occurred on 3rd of November. So on 3rd of November, I don't know when the Americans voted in 1992, but it must be very, very close to 3rd of November because they vote on the first Tuesday of November. So, and they voted in 1992. That's the election that Bill Clinton won that brought him to power. So J.J. Rawlings was elected in the presidential election, and then came the famous boycott where the parties boycotted, So they didn't run for the parliamentary election, and parliament became one-sided. In the following year, in 1996, it was the election was fought in 7th December. Again, there's a bit of story behind that. The election fought on 7th December was to be 8th December. The date approved by the Electoral Commission was 8th December. Then the NDC raised an issue. NDC, they can give problem to ECO. NDC raised an issue and said that 7th December was the birthday of John Ajekun Kufuor. Can you imagine that? And it is true. 7th December was John Kufuor's birthday. No, 8th December was John Kufuor's birthday, sorry. And NDC said we can't fight election on John Kufuor's birthday when he's on the ballot. Take that thing. There's a lot of fights. So we went to IPAC. I was a reporter in those days. You go to IPAC, go here, pass here, listen to all the important people. You go to Odo Sykes, you go to Nana Akufo-Addo, listen to what he's saying, and you try and do a story out of that. So the election was then brought to 7th December. That's how we have been fighting 7th. So the actual date is 8th December. But 8th December is John Kufuor's birthday. And the NDC said they don't want the election on John Kufuor's birthday. So that was changed. Okay, let's see what you got. Then you have election 2000. It was fought on 7th December, and it was a Thursday. It was fought on 7th. No, well, I'm still on 92. Did I roll up? I can see 92 over here.
96 is the 2000.
Okay, you stay with 92. Let's finish with it. So 92 is, the election was fought on a Tuesday. 92, and in 96, the election was fought on a Saturday. Aha, so the Saturday, this is not the first time we are voting on Saturday. We voted on Saturday before. I can't remember whether there was a religious concern in that season. I'm sure there would be, but I don't know how it was dealt with. And perhaps the Electoral Commission should go back for the notes of 1996 and ask the Electoral Commission how they dealt with getting religious people, Seventh-day Adventists, our brothers and sisters over there, on how they will vote on this Saturday, because it's become a problem, isn't it? And it will be a problem for everyone. That's why we advocated that the Electoral Commission should just give the first Friday of December. No, that will be a Muslim holiday. Muslims go to church on Friday. Sunday, and why are they playing this? Okay. Yeah, okay, so that is Flight Lieutenant Rawlings taking the oath. Yeah, this is good, thank you. Flight Lieutenant Rawlings taking the oath after he had won. This will be the 1996 election. Is that 96? Are they telling you 96? I think this is the 96 election. So Rawlings taking the oath at the Independence Square in Palo. Yes, this is 96. Louis Farrakhan. You know how important Ghana was. This is the great Louis Farrakhan, the president of the Nation of Islam. And I've always loved this video because this was the beginning of the establishment of Ghana's democracy. This one, the Fourth Republic, is the beginning of the establishment of Ghana's democracy, where for the first time, political opponents met on the stage. I like this photograph. Hold it there. Very important. This, for the first time, is what happened in 1996, for which reason we have the democracy. Now, this is John Agyekum Kufuor on the left. You can see his back. Let's keep the photograph there, please. Keep that photograph. I was describing it. They'll bring it back. They'll bring it back. They'll bring it back. Yeah, it's a video, so stop it there, and then let me run the commentary on it. All right, so they'll bring it back in. I needed to say something about that for the 1996 video. So it had not happened in Ghana for a long time. So if you listen to the commentary of Ghana Television's commentator, Edward Fachi, he was completely astounded. He said, "Oh, what's happening here? John Kufuor is going to the stage." And everybody at home was watching and was wondering what's happening. And J.J. Rawlings himself, he took a step back and said, "Hey, guys, come, you should wait, you know." So, but then when he got to the stage, it was all peace. He shook hands with Mr. Rawlings. There it is again. So that's John Kufuor there shaking hands with Professor Mills in the Kente, smiling broadly. Kufuor talking to Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings, kissing her hand. And this was a major mark of reconciliation. Flight Lieutenant Rawlings talking to Edward Mahama. John Kufuor shaking hands with Louis Farrakhan. Hold it there, hold it there. So John Kufuor shaking hands with Louis Farrakhan in the dark spectacles. Louis Farrakhan was like the Martin Luther King of the day, sort of inherited the Martin Luther King image in America. He was crying civil rights, and he was doing it on the altar of Islam. So he set up something called the Nation of Islam. I don't know where Minister Akbar Muhammad is these days, but he was also a regular partner of Good Evening Ghana. He was in charge of Africa for the Nation of Islam. So that's Edward Mahama to the left-hand side of John Kufuor, another contestant in the 1996 election, going on the stage to congratulate Flight Lieutenant Rawlings for winning the election. This act of John Kufuor and Daniel Boche, the General Secretary of the NPP at the time, who also went on stage, this singular act changed a whole lot in the acceptability of democracy as a way of government in Ghana, and it has changed it for a very long time to come. Many journalists have not reported on this matter, and it is important that we say this whilst Kufuor is still alive, that Kufuor really was the person who gave legitimacy to Ghana's democracy by this single act. In those days, opposition don't talk to government. They hate each other. They don't talk at all to government. And everybody was wondering what's going to happen with the democracy. But when Kufuor attended the inauguration of Mr. Rawlings and decided to go on the stage to congratulate him, this was the first time in any election contest in the history of Ghana, I believe, where the winner had been congratulated by the rival loser. This didn't happen. Kwame Nkrumah was being congratulated, but he was being congratulated by the French parties. The rival loser never congratulated him. In 1969, I have to say, though, that Mr. Bedema congratulated Professor Buzia, but Bedema was not the rival loser. The rival loser was the real CPP that was banned. In 1979, when Dr. Liman won it, his rival loser was Victor Usu. He didn't congratulate him. In 1992, Dubois did not congratulate Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. So we have been coming for a 40-year history where we were not accustomed to a losing presidential candidate congratulating a winning presidential candidate. This was the one. John Kufuor did that for Ghana. Dan Boche and John Kufuor of the NPP did this for Ghana to sustain Ghana's democracy. It was great. Let's get back onto the touch screen and see where next we go. Now we go to 2000, isn't it? Correct. So 2000, the election was fought, and the producer, the election was fought. Is it first round or second round? But I'm guessing this is the first round because normally the second round is on 28th December. Yes, so this definitely is the first round. So the 2000 was 7th December was a Thursday. It was a Thursday. So that looks like a neutral day that we can continue having. In that election, John Kufuor was the last on the ballot, Asia, they call it, and he won. In 2004, John Kufuor won again. I think the most uneventful election we've had in Ghana was 2004. It was dull, it was quiet, there was no fight, there was nothing. 2004 election was just boring, wasn't it? It was so boring. But the results were not boring. The results showed a very, very impressive turnout for the NDC because everyone thought the NDC was going to be booted out and walloped and whipped from the 2000 election. Yeah, they lost, but the results was respectable. People thought Kufuor was going to get 60%. The acceptability ratings of Kufuor was significantly high. Everybody thought Kufuor was going to get 60%, and he came up with 50-something%. Everyone was surprised. But it was a very boring election. Everything from day one of the voting was pointing to a Kufuor re-election. And so that wasn't a very, very, very interesting election. And then came the big one, 2008. That was something. That was something. The election was fought on 7 December. It was a Sunday. And it was won by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was first on the ballot. But he didn't win enough to get the threshold. And eventually he lost after the third round of voting to John Evans Atta Mills, who became president of Ghana. 2012, John Dramani Mahama, his 7 December was a Friday. It was fought on a Friday. And it was won by John Dramani Mahama. The most controversial election in the history of the Fourth Republic was election 2012, of course. Why do I say that? Need I say more? You know why I'm saying that. Because of the election petition and the fallout of the election petition indicated to us that this was a very, very controversial election. But it was won by John Dramani Mahama, and it was fought on a Friday. Then came the 2016. It was fought on a Wednesday, and it was 7 December, and it was won handsomely by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Again, you have to say something for election 2016. It was the election that was won with the biggest margin for an opposition leader. It was the first time an opposition leader had come from opposition to win a first-round victory. It had not happened yet in the Fourth Republic. This was the first time it happened, where the leader of the opposition wins the election in the first round by such a significant number of votes. That was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's record. Still unbeaten. I don't know how long that record will last, but we're waiting to see when an opposition leader will win an election by a margin of 1 million votes in Ghana. I think that's going to take a very long time to come. Akufo-Addo is going to hold the record for a while, wouldn't he? I guess so. And then you have in 2020, the election fought on 7 December. It was a Monday. Akufo-Addo was first on the ballot again, and he won it. In 2024, the election will be fought on a Saturday, and we wait to see what happens. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. Are you ready for? Let's take some text messages, and then we come to Dr. Eche Sikankus. He will give him 15 minutes to give us a short analysis of where we are on the United States of America. So, in terms of text messages, how shall I start? Tell me what to do. Anzibar, they say that you should read first.
Nana Kwame says, the older the wine, the better. Apostle Paul, you do all. Hudu Al-Hassan says, Apostle Paul, the good old days. Wow, we thank God for being so merciful. Amo says, Paul, you be the guy right from day one. Good work done. Osman says, indeed, the young shall grow. Michael Addo says, Paul, this is the latest one and the oldest political show in Ghana with so much credibility. Lastly, from Nana Kwesi says, Uncle Paul, one thing I have learned from you is that consistency and due diligence is key in almost every venture or opportunity. You are indeed a blessing and God bless you. Over to you, Ella.
All right, so this one is from Idris. He says, Mr. Paul, I pray for you to be in good health and long life so you can continue educating us to learn more about Ghana's history. God bless you so much. This one is from Mohammed. He says, it sounds so funny watching Owusu Bempah predicting a win for Mahama just because MPP members are not worshipping him as they wanted. It's so embarrassing because, is it because of money that 99% of the Ghanaian pastors are hiding behind Christianity and shamefully lying to innocent people and calling themselves pastors? Now, Caleb says, Paul, if you listen to what Prophet Owusu Bempah said, he didn't say President Mahama will win in 2024. He didn't mention the year. It could be 20 years later after Dr. Bawumia becomes president. Samuel says, Owusu Bempah, who showered Dr. Bawumia with prayers and prophecies in March this year, had to make a U-turn just because the police arrested him. His prophecy is out of bitterness. Even the Bible admonishes us to give respect to whom it is due, follow laws and orders. He is not above the law. Carlos says, Paul, you are too much and I really enjoy watching your show. Please let's not forget to vote for Bawumia as number 1. Nee says, Apostle Paul, you are doing a great job. The biggest problem Ghana has is the NDC. They are against everything that goes on in this country. They fight against state institutions and encourage people to go into Galamsey low-key. Well, that is quite an allegation. This one is from Ibrahim. He says, good evening, Mr. Paul. In fact, you are an institution to many Ghanaians and we love you. Lastly, this is a question from Prince AJ. He says, so Paul, why didn't the CPP use the same Nkrumah CPP and emblem in 1992's elections? All right, Fasi, what do you have?
All right, thank you. So this is coming from Master Planner Junior Kentampo, and he says, Mr. Paul, in fact, you've really given us memories. Seeing ex-President Kufuor congratulating J.J. Rawlings on stage was remarkable as an opposition leader. Today, we have opposition leaders who till date have not congratulated President Nana since 2021. It is possible. Nee Okain says, you're doing a great job. The biggest problem of Ghana is the NDC party. They are against everything that goes on in this country. Now, Haruna Swala says Dr. Bawumia is the most competent among all the presidential candidates. He deserves to be the manager of Ghana. Abdullah Ibrahim says, Mr. Paul, in fact, you're an institution to many Ghanaians and we love you. Keep it up. Baban Yahya says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the only politician I've ever seen who is mature enough to put everything aside and listen to the ordinary man on the street, a man who considers opposing opinions before making decisions. Let's vote for him. Efrefa says, Paul is peerless when it comes to this political philosophy commentary and such a big media encyclopedia. I just love listening to him. The nowadays noisemakers should watch and get to learn from him. You don't even come close to Paulus. God bless you, Captain. We learn a lot from you. Now, Master Planner Junior says, one gesture I like about Paul currently is how he holds his pen while he's seated and firing. I just realized that he has been doing this since immemorial. From the 2003 documentary, I saw similar gesture and I was like, wow, consistency. Now back to you, Paul.
Back to me already? All right, so there was something at IPAC, wasn't there? And so what was it about? Do you have the videos of the NDC attending the demonstration? The demonstration was called, producer, maybe we can start with the videos. A demonstration was called by the NDC that they needed a forensic audit analysis. Where's my shirt? They needed a forensic audit analysis of the Electoral Commission data. It became a big fight. The NDC were concerned the Electoral Commission will not accede to their demands, so they decided to use protest. They should tell you when the videos are ready of the protest. We'll just show a little bit. So show a little bit of the video. Is it ready yet? Okay, they're still working on it. So they did. Oh, you don't have it there? Okay. So they organized a protest which we all know about, and I had some videos, but I don't think it's ready. So the protest went out on last Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. Tuesday was it? And the protest was about the Electoral Commission's data is compromised. This is the position that the NDC took. Please, you should get the NDC statement as well ready here, please. The one we used on Tuesday. The Electoral Commission data, they said, was compromised. And as a result of that, the Electoral Commission was preparing to rig the election for the new patriotic party, isn't it? Okay. So they went on demonstration to alert Ghanaians. Many Ghanaians were concerned. In fact, many neutral Ghanaians were concerned about the Electoral Commission that, look, you should just get the thing done when it has to be done. No, I'll take it, but not now. I'll take it later. I'll take it later in the build-up. Let's get the Omani Boama story. Yes, so this is what happened. So Electoral Commission said, let's have an IPAC meeting, and let NDC come and tell us. So the IPAC meeting went on. This is one of the fallouts from the IPAC meeting. Confusion rocks, and I'm reading from the website. I'll get it for you soon. Where is it? It's there. Confusion rocks NDC's elections after disgraceful performance at IPAC meeting. This looks like and that's Omani Boama's photograph over there. Confusion rocks NDC elections after disgraceful performance at IPAC. Why is the writer calling it disgrace? I think that's a strong word that we may not be able to repeat, but after disappointing, if you like. Disappointing performance at the IPAC. Let's get on with it. So it says, that's all it is, eh? That's all? Yes. Okay. It says, NDC's Director of Elections, NIT, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah, is facing serious charges of working to sabotage the NDC in the upcoming elections. After failing woefully to present any evidence to back all the NDC's false claims about the voters register, fingers are pointing at Dr. Omane-Boamah for being the mastermind behind the disgrace that hit the party. The NDC headquarters is currently on fire as Johnson Asiedu Nketia is making it very clear that it was John Mahama who imposed the mole, as they call him, Omane-Boamah, on the NDC. Suddenly, Asiedu Nketia is saying that Omane-Boamah is an MPP person with no election experience, and John Mahama must be blamed for the mess that Omane has put the NDC into. Other national executives are also condemning Omane-Boamah for his poor performance at the IPAC meeting, with some executives calling for his immediate dismissal. Obviously, Omane-Boamah knows nothing, as the article says, about managing elections, and his gross incompetence is now evident. Well, these are very strong words, and this is our opinion of Omane-Boamah. This is the opinion of the writer. But what happened in the IPAC meeting? Omane-Boamah was unable to justify or to give evidence to the Electoral Commission. But hold on Omane-Boamah a little bit. Just hold Omane-Boamah a little bit. Let's come to the reality of the matter. Omane-Boamah is Director of Communications of the party. ICT Director. Okay. So Omane-Boamah says that he has identified something that is wrong in the voters register, and whatever he has identified is inimical to the fortunes of the NDC come December 2024. Now, this is my question. If I'm a political party, I'm a member of a political party at the top level, and one of us has found something, don't we sit down in a room and interrogate what he has found ourselves before we go to IPAC, so that when they went to IPAC, that presentation of whatever was wrong with the document could have been done by any of the top executives, either Fifi Kwete, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, Sami Gyimfin. They could all have done it. Because Omane-Boamah is working for them. He alerts you on a problem. You have to interrogate him and find out what was the problem. Now, I remember one of the meetings of the election petition, Akufo-Addo's election petition of 2013. And one of the meetings that was held prior to the election petition being filed. And the way in which people like Napo, Kenatefa, Edward Boateng, Jacob Echebe-Lamte, the way they were interrogated by the MPP people, that are you sure you have a case? Are you sure we can go to court? And one of the people leading the interrogation was C1 himself, the candidate who they were telling you have been cheated. He was at the forefront of interrogating in private meetings with them whether they really had a case to go to court. And I still remember that when after those meetings had ended, the case was made and time was, they had 2 more days to file, the candidate said that let me go to President Kufuor and tell him what we have found and that we are going to court. This is the various level of checks and balances that the allegations of electoral fraud went through before the MPP filed the case at the Supreme Court, including the candidate who was being told that you have been cheated. He was leading the interrogation that, are you sure I've been cheated? Are you sure this is correct? Is that parliamentary figures that say add up? I was there, I saw it. And that is the, so I took it for granted that all political parties do that. When one person can say, hey, guys, we have been cheated. Wait. They will sit that person in a room and interrogate him that, you said we have been cheated. Show us where we have been cheated. The rest of Ghana is not watching that meeting. We are not in that meeting. So you can finish with that. Apparently, that didn't happen. It didn't happen. So once Omane-Boamah said so and so, they were in a hurry to go on the streets because Omane-Boamah said, and they believed him. So now Omane-Boamah came to the IPAC and said, IPAC said, Jack, where are you? Where is the information? Now this is the demonstration. This is Idrisu Haruna, former minority leader, NDC faithfuls. This is all of them chanting on the street about the need for a forensic audit of the voters register. This was the hoax. The need for the, this is Sami Gyimfin. Omane-Boamah's analysis and his information leading all of these people, not all of them are NDC people. Some are genuine Ghanaians who want the right thing to be done and who were worried that if the Electoral Commission can conduct a forensic audit just so that everything is fine, Why are they refusing to do so? Even journalists were railroaded into this kind of argument, boxing themselves into asking the Electoral Commission, what do you lose when you do forensic audit? What do you lose when you do forensic audit? This is what was happening. Now, no, that's a joint news video. Sorry about that. So then the meeting came inside the meeting room. Omanebo performed so flatly that at the end of the day, there's a photograph that has emerged. There's a clear photograph. They're going to show it to us. And then I'll show you what Ikweadonko said. It's 30 minutes past. Aha! This photograph. Now, MPP is sharing this photograph and calling them forensic audit viewers. Me, I don't know how to analyze photographs. This is a group of leaders of the party who have just left an IPAC meeting. They've just come out of an IPAC meeting. Please, did they look like they've been beaten up by water? I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I beg you. I'm not saying anything. This is my man. Johnson Asedunketia is always my man. This is Omanebo Ama whispering something to Fifi Kwete. Fifi Kwete wants to slap him. Then you go and embarrass us. You can't stand here and you are whispering. Nobody is smiling at the camera except the lady. Thank God for women. Thank God for women. Look at the lady. She is smiling. Yamin, my man from Kumasi, is not happy. This man is not, I don't know his name. Is that Kofi Ato? No, it's not Kofi Ato. This man is not happy. Fifi Kwete is stern and angry. Omanebo Ama is trying to hide his embarrassment by trying to whisper something as if there's some strategy going on. Asedunketia is brutally angry. This man here is okay. He's tired. He's just tired. He's wondering why all of this should happen. But viewers, this is the matter. They are politicians. Politics is a nice thing. You are going to IPAC meeting. You have already sent people on the streets to go and demonstrate that the voters register is wrong and that the voters register is being prepared to mar the election. We have had successful elections from 96, 2000, up to 2004. We are ready for another election that we anticipate should be successful. You are alleging to us as a key and important stakeholder in the party, in the government system, in the political system. You are alleging to us that there is a problem with the voters register. All of us will be concerned about it. All of us will be eagerly concerned about this matter. We will be. So everybody was. Now they came to the Electoral Commission. Come and show us the matter. Look at my man, my uncle, Johnson Asedunketia. He's my uncle. Look at him. He's angry. And I can understand why he's angry. Asedunketia is no minnow when it comes to elections. He understands it. He knows what to do. Asedunketia can run election in Kenya. He can run election everywhere. He's been doing it for that long. So he's beginning to wonder that, what happened? Here is Ikweadonko speaking after the IPAC meeting when the NDC had been, NDC could not indicate the need for a forensic audit. This is Ikweadonko.
Midaya me ase say obetna konyenso esu fidi amanfo sumo no NDC for ade papa nanso so obedo de court bra no obetwe edini ene court nanso omo ani muguase ka omo ni nyina echi no yasa abetwe edini me ameti we ameka say isi ka say obi afa nipa emetna table no ho ba bia ye twe edini obi afa nipa mra na who say you don't try no be antimi anka ho asem me di nipa koyi ba bia be me di nipa koyi ni nyina echi no ya twa di kama what the book ya dey challenge nyina ka ho the fake ka ho so obi a wonya afie no watwe ya ntwere obi a wonya ganani ya ntwere adda na mo ha di pesa wonu se nya me na de ba he wonya ko pa de ba he wo ye dai mo boa be bompa ye se nya ko pa san tanachi Kwan biaso won nyina finti wo ye oba sonko wo ye nipa sonko me bo abaso mpro ha yi ni pen fo no pen wo bo ma abaso ada na wo tete sa me ya me kan tinti me he wo se ye nipa duonu mu asai ya ye wuwe wo ade ni mo yi sa be fe e mo bo ada na wo twa ntro sa wo se wo twa ba bia ya ade no ada na wo tsa ada mo kwa ye twa diri I say, Kukum, no Makotutu, and no Nanchen. Yes, I'm not Kokos. That's how much should I ever gone before. I'm before the war about Swati, someone Casa. No more Sako Chucha about Daddy and Po, but I hope Bodechi. What's that for back? Ashwa, one back to cross or Sakai, to Canita, a dear Amoye, or my yes, what a quay, or my area. Oh, may I get many yasso, your papa and Fantiaba. I bet I have a tree. And you're fine, if you're by you, dear, come up. But if you are dying, I had to know, sir.
There's something about the tree language there. When they say it, there's some words that is that I trust. I mean, everybody in the studio was laughing. But this is it. These are the intellectual class. Dr. Mane Boama is a medical doctor. He put up some documents and went to IPAC, completely embarrassed himself. The not that well educated and successful entrepreneur Ikradonko is asking him, Mane Boama, why now Chantrosa? He's asking the intellectual. This is what happens. This is what happens when the purpose of education is lost. This is what happens. She is not as educated as any of the people here. Yamin, Fifi Kwete has PhD, Sedun Ketia has double masters, Sami Jemfi is a lawyer. This man, I don't know his qualification, but he must be up there. All of these degrees put together, they were flawed by Ikradonko, who simply asked, why? Why are you lying like that? He said, because the screen was there, Omane Boama is here. Now put the matter before IPAC. Flatly failed. Completely embarrassed. But why? They think the Electoral Commission work is a joke. It's intellectual. You have to grind the thing. You have to crack the numbers and be sure of what. Didn't they see Dr. Baumia in the election petition court? When they ask him, yes, Dr. Baumia, primary school, AME Zion, he says, no, you are looking at a duplicate. Turn the next page. You have to spend time on the thing. It's not a simple matter. You have to spend time on it. You think that it's just propaganda? This propaganda behavior. Why they have a propaganda secretary in the person of Samuel Jemfi? Samuel Jemfi is the propaganda. The only political party that has a propaganda secretary. It was Daniel Boche, the eternal general secretary of the NPP, who browbeats them on radio every day, said that NDC has somebody called propaganda secretary. Open your dictionary. Propaganda means lies. This is a party that is set out for lies. Fifi Kwete was propaganda secretary of the party. So I think it's gone into their head that everything is propaganda. You can just say anything and get away. Just say that, oh, the Electoral Commission thing is compromised. There are 235 names. Just say it. And then after that, go on demonstration. Akufo-Addo has fought so hard for all of us to get demonstration. So they enjoy it. Go on demonstration and let the Ghanaian people know no policy initiative. I don't understand why that is happening. It didn't used to be. And I've been covering these elections for a long time. At least today I've showed you some of the things we used to do. We've been covering, this is not how it used to be. When did it become, Victor Smith, are you watching? When did your NDC become like this? Victor Smith, sometimes he calls me. Ambassador Victor Smith, when did your NDC become like this? The NDC that I knew. Victor Smith, I used to come to your office every afternoon when you were working for Mrs. Rollins at Ridge, and we'll talk about NDC and PP. I'll come there, I'll come and meet Tony Edu in your office. Victor Smith, you remember, even on 2 occasions, I met Fly Lieutenant Rollins in your office. And you told me that JJ is there. I was afraid to go and see him. And you said we played about it and then I ran away and I don't see him. When did that NDC of 2002, when did it become like this? When did it become like this? What is this? When did NDC go to IPAC without any document? NDC used to laugh at MPP that they come to IPAC with nothing. Rojo Metil Nunu, Alaji Hudu Yaya. These were the men. The guy who used to wear the stiletto. Yeah, what's his name? George Kwenu Metal. Yes, the NDC people who are listening, they know what I'm talking about. George Kwenu Metal, he was in the headquarters. They were preparing for IPAC. I've been there at Asalam Down near Paloma, the old office. When they sit down and they are preparing for meeting, George Kwenu Metal is there, Alhaji Hudiaya is standing there, Peter Podube is there. They are doing proper work. Ebeyo, what is this? The NDC, big political party. When did they come to this? That NDC can go to IPAC with a whole Dr. Mane Boama's allegation falling flat like that. So that Ikradonko is saying the thing she's saying, and I'm trying to trust her. Why? Okay, Kofi Apalo also has something to say. What did he say?
We had no time to waste. So from now to 7 December, it's 65 days or 67 days. When are we going to do this forensic audit? 276 constituencies, 40,000 polling stations, 18 million registered voters. Who's going to do that auditing in less than 60 days?
This is Kwame Abuja. Sorry. Kwame Abuja is a friend of Metro TV. I didn't see. He's an architect. Yeah, I've just been told. He's a good morning Ghana friend. He's a friend of Metro TV. So, lawyer, architect, banker, MBA, medical doctor, financial management authority, financial analyst. I'm not sure about the lady. Yamin too, I think, is a lawyer. All of these qualifications could not stand the test of time before the IPAC meeting, and Ikadonko had to pass the verdict. Okay, no problem. We'll leave it here. It's 24 minutes past 10 o'clock. Let's go to China and come back.
The 24-hour economy, mom and papa, mom, yen and moi. John Dramani Mahama said what the modern farming techniques and the deba. Under animal farming. Who call by bit is a pudon or china. Who call her animal farming? Wouldn't say Jatani Mwakasi elephant near the gum egu farm numbi. And you wouldn't mean Cosset or Quacodo, and I said, oh, caught no could be any. It would set up plantation in the BA, we are no jam one agum. Not jam one guma, who bay here almost swap. What would the plain ever fabrium? No mas as ever and one in any other. Not proud to that, no. What training expert for our muso ever share choir a friend say, or more ever shem one, so Bobby area, a bit my one of pioneer the other day. Nasanyoma way in an air baswa, a bad woman or more Marie a Greek, a waggy care, UST, Legon, woman in a being a Jumaye.
With all that we are saying, I'm quite confused.
Okay.
I'm confused. I'm confused and I say, animal really no say yeah animal farming no sa jatani winning no ebe benefits.
Yeah, yes, reason is ebe my tourist attraction.
Okay, good.
Because ukopudon.
Now more of tourism than say yeah re animal na
my. To that no so no emwa na kasa no ubetimi a export to be.
Okay.
Who export no na sika no dey enioma na ekọ no. Na unya dollars. Dollars ne ba ne bebe usika sama dey ejina.
Okay.
Proud to that, no. They will make a exportation. Movement, however, I say, would the new money be corner? Nadi corner, would you corner? Ubenya dollars naba. Dollars bar, because country biana. What can your mom more than your export to biano? Country now what near the buffer. And na Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia Baya went to Mania, Wama Hochaba. It's your mom, we are station officers near the Ninano. Won't be near Jumaye. One mom, we are for masonry reform. I bet to war, a fancy land in Nina. Almost be near Jumaye. Proud to that. Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, Ebaya Okase, obey one district, one factory, went to me. And here are John Dramani Mahama say, under one district, one factory, no, one no dear, or bad the embarking on Agro.
I didn't say it. I didn't say that. It's Pudong. Today we didn't laugh that much. Proud to that. After the break, HSC Kanko takes us to Capitol Hill to show us how the American election will pan out on November 4th. The contest for the second time is between a lady, but this time the incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris and the eternal Donald Trump. The former president coming back with a lot of anger and ferocity. That's what is confronting Americans. HA will tell us the details of how Americans are preparing to vote, what are the issues. And some Americans have already voted. What kind of law allows people to vote so long before the election? Can they bring that law in Ghana so we can vote in July and go to bed ahead of December? This is Good Evening Ghana is live.
Good evening, this is TV3 Evening News. The headlines in this edition are Ghana's labor force growing by more than 200 per year. The IGP appeals to district assemblies to allocate part of their common fund towards solving the accommodation problems of the police service. Presbyterian Foundation exceeds its 1 billion CD target. And in football, Accra Hearts of Oak this afternoon beat Solar in Guema of Equatorial Guinea 6-0. I am Paul Adam Archery. The Deputy Minister of Employment and Social Welfare, Mr. Austin Game, says Ghana's labor force is estimated to be increasing at a rate of about 230,000 every year. He said the implication of such a large number of people entering the labor market calls for an urgent need to improve the technical proficiency of this growing labor force through increased opportunities for technical and vocational training. Mr. Game was addressing the 4th Speech and Prize-Giving Day and Silver Jubilee of the Calvary Methodist Vocational Institute in Accra today.
Choose the perfect prize every week and stand to win your choice of exciting prizes. All to get more of what matters to you. Exclusive to Betway. Betway, get way more. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Yeah, this is my secret. Give us P capsules. Pema, I want to go from now on to me to my one pem. Give us P capsules. Over do as a mama. Oh no, enemy lawyer.
Ah, and to lawyer no na show bottom. Are you bro? Are you bro? Again, upon me see that bet you more as a niji.
Bosano.
No. Nige nefi waka wo. E friend give us cold capsules. Say yes is yare na wo so. Ko di di wo ni pedwem wani na wo posa amaman entimi ma wunja wo nan yi. Wonum give us cold capsules a. Wo be ye free.
Lawyer,
give us cold capsules.
And I give us P capsules.
Hey, and they give us free. Open Chinasuma capsules.
And men what if you do what you do cronkwan ever. Give us core capsules. A pain for a batter one more menu for one kwada when if you do me nunca.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
Prepare bantama.
Matias.
Cycle.
Her smile, the fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
Guys, here, Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa. Kile kosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luckiest everywhere.
8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get a packing from your one line. Hey, wait.
You can put it on this time. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, go with you. We are star 712. It's a phone. I'm dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And I'm with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now we you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there one. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Hey! Today at my office. Oh, my people, welcome. Please, sit down. Today you brought another gist. So what's the gist today?
So, boss, you say that the election is won or lost at the polling station.
Exactly.
So if you be sure, why say you be the EC chairperson where they announce the winner? Why?
Okay, all right. I get your point. Let me break it down for you. You see, in the presidential elections, the whole country is considered as one constituency. So all the results need to be collated from all the polling stations before the EC chair can arrive at the results to declare. You understand? Good. You see, it all starts at the polling station. Pink sheets with results at the polling station are forwarded to the constituency collation center. Here, the results from all the polling stations are collated and the constituency results are declared. The results are then posted right there at the center. So at the regional collation center, the results from all the constituencies within the region are collated and the regional winner is declared. The results are then posted at the center.
Oh, hey, this process belongs, Papa.
Massa, we've not even finished yet. Yes, so now the regional results are then forwarded to us at the EC head office. And remember, political party representatives are there, observers are there, the media is also there. All of them are monitoring everything very critically. You understand? And so, at the EC head office, under the monitoring of all the stakeholders, all that the EC chairperson does is to add up the results from all the 16 regions to arrive at the winner of the presidential elections.
So the EC chair cannot declare any winner they want?
Impossible. You understand? Look, in this process, there is no way the EC chair can declare a winner aside the one elected by the 40,000 polling stations across the country.
Oh, I get down now. But how about the voting for the MPs? That one, how did they do?
That one is straightforward. Remember, that is at the constituency collation center. So the results from all the polling stations are put together and the results are declared right there.
So again, if a party fails to properly collate their own pin sheet results, or not a
take note that all through this process, all political party agents and observers them did their feely. Nobody they sleep. From the polling stations to the constituency collation centers to the regional collation centers and even the national collation center at the EC head office. All political party agents and observers them did their constant. Them open them eyes all they watch everything feely. Nobody go fit steal this election inside. Look, even EC chairperson self no go fit steal this election inside. 2024 elections. It be Frenchim. It be clean. And with the whole kind. No kululu.
Choose the perfect prize every week and stand to win your choice of exciting prizes. All to get more of what matters to you. Exclusive to Betway. Betway, get way more. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18.
Okay, so we are ready for the conversation with HSC Kanko. Let's do some 3 text messages, though. Should we start with Answer again? Fatih will start this time. Hi, Fatih.
All right, thank you, Paul. So this coming from Twins Jr. And he says, Ekiadonko understands election processes more than Dr. Omane Boama and Esia Dinketia. Now, says what happened at the IPAC recently is a clear indication of the fact that the opposition NDC are on a fishing expedition. I feel sorry for Omane Boama for allowing himself to be used by John Mahama and Asia Dinkatia to go and disgrace himself in that manner. Isn't it interestingly shocking how all of a sudden the NDC have completely abandoned their call for a forensic audit after the competent and detailed presentation of the EC's IT consultant? Haruna Swala says the issue is very simple. The NDC and its actors are just preparing for the minds of their followers for the homogeneous defeat that awaits them, as the signs are very, very clear on the wall. Lily Wool says, Ekiadonko finished the NDC right there. Kovina says, I was expecting to see Sami Jemfi in the IPAC meeting so that he can make his pepper mouth there. And lastly, coming from Alhaji Bob City says, Paul, the ECIT director is superb. He demoralized the NDC IT team and made them useless. They were ashamed and confused. Tanko Computer and Omane Boama always play Charles Keke with the minds of their gullible supporters. If the NDC has anything useful to say, I don't think I can read the rest. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, he says, Mr. Paul, NDC members are bred with emotional roller coaster. So the forensic Nunina, they didn't have any evidence and they pushed their members into the streets for 8 hours. Party being crying. This one is from Kwesi. He says, Apostle Paul, please, we need the video of prior to that from the NDC party. We already shared that. Anan said, good evening, Paul. You are the best journalist. Dr. Baumia will be president. Inshallah, it is possible. This one is also from Osebos. He says, I pity NDC supporters because their leaders have been lying to them all this while. 2022 elections and empty hands was presented to Supreme Court after telling their supporters that they have won the elections. Same empty hands to IPAC meeting after pushing everybody on the streets for voters register. The most, I don't think that's a very appropriate thing to read. But this one's from Ibrahim. He says, Mr. Paul, the NDC has nothing to offer Ghanaians, especially Dr. Dramani Mahama. That was the reason why they went to court without any proper evidence. Lastly, from Harina, he says, the issue is very simple. The NDC and its actors are just preparing the minds of their followers for the defeats that awaits them, as the signs are very, very clear as of now. Papano, he has nothing proper to tell the electorate, and all he is doing is just giving them a reason to think that they are going to be cheated very soon. All right, Anzaba, what do you have for us?
Twins don't beg Junior, they say. Isn't it the same NDC that took the calculator to the Supreme Court and went and pressed it until he accepted that he didn't have any evidence? Richard says we must conduct forensic audits on Dr. Omane Boama. Twins don't beg Junior say again. Esiedu Nketia went to the Supreme Court with a calculator and no pink sheets. Liwell says, Paul, this is one of the reasons why the NDC went to the court without evidence. Hudu Hussein says, please, Paul, translate Ekiadonko's speech for me. Ryan Talisu says, can't stop laughing. Thank you, God, for journalists like you, Paul. It's a pity that the current NDC thinks they can just bully everyone to power. Lastly, from Stephen Ansah and Maxwell Intri, they say, Stephen says, is that Paul reading the news on TV3? Wow, I never knew. And from Maxwell, he says, where's Captain Smarts? Come and show us your 1999 show. Over to you. Paul.
Yeah, you're ready. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, Doc. How was America to start with?
It was really good, very, very competitive and very heated coming up. They had the Democratic Convention,
yes,
and then they had a presidential debate, Harris and Trump. And only 2 days ago, they had the vice presidential debate, and then the campaign has gone to the swing states as well. So it's moved into the last phase of the election, a very high stakes election coming up. They're in the final phase. In fact, early voting has started, as you rightly said. So I believe we are at the very, very final stage.
Let me just introduce you to Tara. You didn't hear her speak on Tuesday. So Tara is from France, and
hi, Tara.
She's a sort of Ghanaian raised in France, and I asked her on Tuesday. Many people have been calling me about what you said. I asked her on Tuesday about how do young people in France relate to voting. And she said something very interesting, that in the generation before her mother and grandmother, they were not voting because they thought that voting was not for them. The reason they thought was that because the governance has nothing to do with them. That's how they saw it. That the governance is for some patriarch and some elite people. They are all white and they do their thing. So they were not doing that. But that generation continued to work harder and were able to give their children like her opportunities in great schools. So for her generation, the distinction between black and white is blurred. Not because of color, but because of earning capacity. That's very interesting. That in her mother's generation, the distinction we thought was color, but they are finding it wasn't color. It was control of capital. That was what it was about. So, yes, once education opened up, and then equal people were going to Sorbonne. If you met somebody at Sorbonne, you didn't care whether he was black or he was white.
Right.
All you know is there's a Sorbonne alumni.
Right.
So they started integrating more. Then they found out that in fact they had the power in terms of numbers, that they could change decisions. And so today, voting among young people is huge.
Wow.
Whether immigrants or whatever, and they were the people who went into the ballot 2-3 months ago to make sure that the far right doesn't win.
Oh, wow. That's impressive, because young people are generally seen as being very apathetic.
It's changing in Europe.
Yeah. That's true. But I've been really impressed in Ghana because we have I think between 18 and 24 years old, I think it's like 80% of participation in voting in Ghana against 35% in France.
Okay.
So Ghana is an example actually for France.
Yeah.
But since France is a melting pot, it's a little bit it has been a little bit difficult to identify to politics. But now it's easier, like Paul said. My generation feels more legit to go and vote, to go and raise their voices, and to protest. Youth is at the front of every protest, and we are the one initiating actually all the protests that we had for the past few years.
So did you vote in the last election?
Yes,
okay,
I did.
I'll come to that. Let's get to America.
Nice.
So she wanted to hear you, and she may have some questions for you.
Right.
So let's start with
yeah.
just making people understand. What is swing states?
Sure.
Yeah, they were going to put a map. I think the map will come again. What is swing states?
Yeah, so the swing states. So
there is a map.
Right. So the swing states are the states that honestly decide the election.
So in Ghana we have, what do we call it? We don't call it swing. What do we call it? Is it swing we use? We call it something else. Anyway, actually the word will come. It's not swing. Swing is typically American. We call it, it's not. Is it swing regions? Okay, that's another word I'm looking for. Yeah, so like central region that votes for MPP sometimes, votes for NDC sometimes. Like Western region, Greater Accra region is a big one.
Bono.
Like that. Bono, you can call it that, yes.
Yeah, the former Bono.
So those swing states, it means they have on occasion voted for Republican,
yes,
and they have voted for Democrats.
Yes, at different times.
So where are they coming from in 2020? Let's start with Nevada.
Okay, so you mean where do the candidates stand right now?
Where do they vote? Where did Nevada vote in 2020?
I see what you mean. Okay, so
who had Nevada in 2020?
Yeah, so Nevada was Biden.
In 2020?
It was Biden in 2020. Arizona was Biden.
Okay.
Wisconsin was Trump in 2016, which was the first time they voted for a Republican in a long time.
Okay.
So that's why Trump won. But then it switched back to...
In 2020.
In 2022.
Okay, Michigan?
Michigan also Trump won in 2016 by less than a percentage point.
Wow.
Yes, 0.1.
Wow.
Oh, yes, that's how close it gets.
That's the 2016, the Hillary Clinton one.
Yeah.
And once he wins by 0.1, he picks up all the delegates'
everything.
Yeah. That's painful.
Yeah. So that was Michigan.
Okay, let's have the map again.
Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania again in 2016 was Trump, which was the first time Republicans had won in a long time.
Okay.
Because traditionally.
So Trump was eating into the Democrat side.
Yes, and that was why it was just a
walkover.
A walkover for him. So Pennsylvania, typically the Democrats, although it's swing, the Democrats get it. And once they get, because they have about, I think, 18, one of the largest delegates whatever.
What is it,
electoral
18?
votes. About 18 or so, I got to check. But it has one of the largest.
Okay.
All
Florida
right?
is the largest, I think 27.
27, sorry, yeah.
Florida is the largest for 27, but 18 is a lot.
It's quite a lot, yeah. So Pennsylvania went to Trump, and then 2020 came back to Biden. Michigan, Trump, came back to Biden. North Carolina, I think it was the Republicans got it.
Got it last time.
Yeah, they got it. And then Georgia was the big surprise.
That was the one, Trump has been in courts all over the place in Georgia. Because it was a red state that turned blue.
Yeah, red state that turned blue. Big surprise there.
Okay, so who is battling for space? Is it Kamala Harris battling to maintain what Biden got?
Yeah,
is that what it is? Or is Trump battling with himself to recover something that was taken from him? How would you look at it? Is it Kamala Harris trying to hold what Biden had?
Right.
Or is it Trump trying to get back what Biden took?
I think Harris is trying very, very hard to maintain what Biden got back from Trump, right? So,
but we've been told, and that's what I was watching CNN with Mikhail yesterday, and we're confused. We've been told that Kamala Harris is better than Biden, and that is why Biden was asked to step aside. Last night, CNN was saying that they were almost blaming Kamala Harris for polling below Biden at this time in 2020.
Right.
They agree that he's polling more than Biden now, but she's not polling enough to guarantee victory before voting day.
Correct.
And why is that? Why has that happened? Because we're all told Kamala Harris is rising in the polls, is so popular after the DNC, is a big deal, the election is over, she's going 5 points ahead, she's improving. If you type who is winning, Kamala Harris, but last night on CNN, they were quite upset that she's not doing enough.
Yeah, so we have to remember that a very unprecedented thing happened with Harris, which is that she got the nomination to be president in September.
Yes.
That's when the nomination happened, and she became the candidate. This is just September,
or that
October,
if we want to be a bit more right wing, she benefited from a coup d'etat.
Well, yes, to put it that way.
If we want to be more right.
Right. Of course, and that's what some people say, because the Republicans were so mad that how can you just appoint somebody just like that?
From a coup d'etat,
without going through the primaries.
But it is legitimate.
Right.
And the DNC accepted it.
Right, they accepted it.
So we move on.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that this is unprecedented. It's just 2 months or so, September, October, November, that's it. I mean, never in the history of American politics has this happened before, that somebody has gotten the presidential nomination under such circumstances. Very unprecedented. She didn't go through a primary and all of that. So despite the enthusiasm that a lot of the Democrats had about her, the truth of the matter was that she had very, very short time to put together her campaign. She was literally putting the campaign together on the go, on the fly, right? So very short time. So you've got to control for that. And then secondly, too, it was the circumstance under which Biden departed. He did it willingly, but not, very grudgingly, So you control for that as well. And then she has to all of a sudden go to the convention. There was a bit of noise about whether they should do the primary or not. And then finally people decided to coalesce around her. And then she has to select a vice presidential candidate, literally about just 2 weeks, in a very, very short time. Even the vetting of the candidates was done, under very fast circumstances. She had very little time to vet them or get to know them better. And, the first time she got to know Vance, she got to meet Vance was during the vetting process. So, despite
that's the first time they met.
That's the first time they met.
So is it easy to say that Vance probably was not her own choice? Somebody chose it for her?
No, not exactly. I think she was wooed by Vance's popularity on social media and the fact that he was trending. What I'm trying to say is that she had very little time to do all of this.
And it was the best option for her?
Well, according to her, it is the best option because I hear she kind of did the rapport. They had a good rapport when they met for the interview. When Shapiro came, they really didn't strike it, from the get-go. So they had a good rapport. Both of them smiling and joking and having fun and all that. So I think they just
connected.
They just connected.
Now, what was the reason given for Vance's selection? Did it have to do with winning swing states, or was it general America? What was it about?
No, to be honest with you, Paul, I think it was a bit of a surprise. And at the end of the day, I think it boiled down to who the candidate felt comfortable with. It was, I think that's what she did, because on paper, Vance wouldn't be the person. Because Minnesota is not a swing state. Minnesota always votes blue. That's where Vance is from. So you don't get any political advantage from choosing Vance, because in any case, you win his state. So
because that's very blue.
That's blue, yeah. So you don't gain any political advantage there.
No, but they said they were gaining it for the national appeal of sorts.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying that on paper, he wouldn't be your guy. But what she decided to do, so there's constituency politics. Some people believe in that. You slice and dice, and you do the data, and you decide where you are going to get your votes from, and then see which region you get from. You do that and make a decision based on that. She didn't do the constituency thing. She did what I call a national selection. Obama used to call that a 50-state strategy. He wouldn't take somebody from a particular state because he wants to win that state. No, he's just going to do a national thing.
Would that not be wrong? Well, I mean, I don't know from my little understanding of American politics. Would that not be wrong to look at a 50-state solution? Because here is a political system that does not care about popular votes. It cares about the electoral votes. So America's political system is designed for the American politicians to slice and dice, to be strategic, because you're always going to have people win the election but lose the popular vote, which is an incongruous situation in Europe or in Africa. To hear that somebody won the popular vote and did not win the election, it doesn't make sense. You may find it in Britain, but the data will not come to that because it's completely unnecessary. The party with the highest number of seats in parliament has won the election in Britain. But if you were to put the votes together in Britain, you may find that the party that lost the election, they had an aggregate of more votes. So if they were winning their strongholds heavy, 80%, 80%, and losing their strongholds by 49-50, they will still be the minority party in parliament. But in terms of the aggregate of votes, they will be there. But British politics doesn't get there. American politics always pulls up that data. Hillary Clinton got 2 million more votes than Donald Trump got. So if Kamala Harris, in choosing her running mate, is looking at the national picture, that may be dangerous. You can look at that for Ghana. Because popular votes is everything. But there you have a big dichotomy between popular votes and electoral votes.
Yeah, but I'll explain why I'm a big fan of that. Yeah. You know, because at the end of the day, if you choose a candidate who has national appeal, then you are sure that the candidate is going to resonate in a lot more places than just one place. But if you choose a candidate with a sectarian or a regional appeal, fine. I mean, with the data, you might just cross over and win. But if something little goes wrong, it means that you might just capture that particular state, but he may not necessarily appeal to a place beyond that particular state. Do you get me?
But can you find a candidate really who would appeal to more than 10 states?
Well, whose
story will appeal to more than 10 states and they will vote because of him?
It's possible.
Every candidate is from some state. So this is 50 states you are dealing with.
Yeah, it's possible. But remember that you are not trying to get somebody to appeal to all the 50. Just the swing states. That's all.
Or the key swing states.
Just the key
but do they have the same demographics as swing states?
Very good question.
So tell us about that.
So they often do.
Oh, great.
Yes. And that's what they call
So a middle class.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Yeah.
Students, more youth. It's kind of cuts across those swing states.
The working class, the industrial region, the what's it called? They have what they call the Bible Belt, the middle class, the white working, the blue collar workers.
Bible Belt, I'm interested in that. Evangelicals.
Yes, the evangelicals.
The people Hillary Clinton doesn't like.
Yeah. So you know, they seem to have similar characteristics. You know, blue collar workers. They are not people with PhDs or anything. They're just people who are factory workers who just want to go to their work and come back and all of that. And you can find them in the Midwest. You know, in that belt, Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, because of the manufacturing industry. I mean, these are heartland Americans.
Who's in Pennsylvania? Middle class?
Yes, they are also there. You know, this is the heart and soul of America, where the industrial belt and the production, manufacturing, everyday working class people who go to work and come back and take care of their families. I mean, that is where they are. And so the demographics are quite similar, but not the same. So and that's what Harris is counting on. That this is Tim Walz. Look at this guy. He's an everyday person. He's not a doctor, nobody PhD. No, he's a social studies teacher. Everybody's he sounds and looks like everybody's uncle. He talks in ordinary language. People can relate to him. He's very full-ski. He has a child who is disabled. He had one child through in vitro fertilization. He has gone through the challenges of everyday.
Most Americans can find their life in him.
Yes.
Ah, that's a good one.
So you get it. So the idea is that will appeal to a lot of these everyday working people beyond Minnesota, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and all of that. So I mean, that's the bet they are making, as opposed to if they are choosing somebody like Shapiro, who they know for sure that Pennsylvania, yes. Which is key because you can't win the White House without Pennsylvania.
But they say that a bird in hand is worth $1 million in the bush.
Yeah.
So if you know Pennsylvania is going to give me 18 electoral votes, I desperately need it. I'm not going to get Florida. Trump is going to get Florida.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, 27. It's gone.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Virginia. I'm going to get it. Wisconsin is looking shaky.
Yeah.
So let me grab 18 Pennsylvania. If I pick Shapiro, I have Pennsylvania. We think about the rest.
Exactly.
Maybe they should have gone for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why.
If they don't win, that will be Harris will be criticized for the choice.
Yes, but I do think they've gone past it, and the reason why I'm saying that is because Walz has found a way to energize the party. He's very charismatic. He's an engaging speaker. People just love him because he looks like, he doesn't look like a out and out politician. He sounds like
he has a lot of honesty, believability.
Yeah, around him. Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's
yeah,
true.
and his story is very relatable. You get it. So they've been able to sell that part of him. You get. So I think it might not be. I mean, if they end up not winning, then they may rule that particular choice. Because if you look at Shapiro, I mean, Shapiro is great, but after listening to him for a while, I noticed that he didn't have the same charisma as Walz had.
Okay.
And he's Jewish. And he's made certain statements about the Israeli-Palestinian war. Very extreme, some extreme statements.
The Jewish thing is a complicated matter.
Yeah.
Because today on CNN, they were concerned that the war in Gaza, the prolonged war in Gaza, is going to affect the fortunes of the Democratic Party in the election.
Yeah.
And they are very, very worried about it. Okay, let's come to Walz and J.P. Vance. What happened in the debates 2 nights ago?
Well, I mean, it was a civil debate. Actually, the biggest difference between that debate and Harris and Trump is that if you did the research and then you kind of did a content analysis of the kind of language that was used in Trump and Harris's language, very uncivil, I mean, very nasty words at some point were used. And people have talked about civility in politics and decorum and language. You look at the the J.D. Vance debate and Tim Walz debate, and I think it was different in terms of the tone, in terms of the civility, in terms of the derogatory language and all of that. They were quite decent and civil to each other. What Vance did was that he tried to sell himself to the American public. He's a younger person, so he tried to sound very mature, very articulate. Walz, one thing about him is that he warned Harris that he's not a very good debater. He's rather good on the campaign stump, right, in the rallies and being buoyant. So he looked a bit jittery and a bit anxious in the debate. And foreign policy is not his biggest strength. As you know, a lot of Americans don't really care about what happens abroad, So he started he didn't start on a very comfortable note. But when they got to immigration, reproductive rights, freedoms, and all of that.
Who is leading the immigration conversation?
I think we'll give that to the Republicans.
Who is leading on the economy?
Most people trust Trump on the economy.
Now let's look at the keys and why the keys still think that in spite of this, Harris will win.
Okay, sure. So you see the keys.
So Tara, do you know what the keys are? Okay, please explain to viewers who don't know what the keys are.
Sure. So the keys are a system for predicting elections in the U.S. It was developed by one man, Professor Lichman, American University. And the reason why it's become popular is that it has predicted 9 out of the past 10 elections accurately.
Correct. Wow. Which one did he get wrong?
The Al Gore thing, the Al Gore one. They had this whole Supreme Court.
Oh, he predicted Gore will win.
Yeah, he predicted.
Then he wasn't that far from. He wasn't that far.
Yeah, because we all know what happened with that.
Yeah, he wasn't that far. He wasn't that far.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the one, then he's still good.
Yes. Since 1984.
But that's a long time
ago.
ago.
Since 1984, he has predicted
No,
correctly.
but the 84 election, I could have predicted that Reagan was going to
The
I mean, that was very simple. That's easy.
Yes,
That's easy.
yes,
92 was tough. If he got 92 right, then that's a big one.
Yes.
Because 92 had George Bush in the second term. It had Ross Perot. It had Bill Clinton, who was a new person on the board. So if he got 92 right, that's correct. 96 is easy. Clinton was going to win.
Right.
2000 was tough.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. 2004 is easy.
Yeah.
2008 we thought was easy, but when the results came, we knew that it wasn't that easy. That's the Barack Obama one. 2012 was Obama was going to be re-elected.
Right.
There's no question about that. 16 was tough.
But he got it right.
He got Trump right?
Yeah, he got it right.
I see.
He did. As compared to that, that's why he doesn't like the pollsters.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
but the polls showed that Trump was going to lose 16.
Yeah.
Okay, what's he saying now?
Okay.
Or what are the keys that you are using?
So what he does is that he doesn't do a poll, he doesn't do quantitative research, he doesn't do survey, he doesn't do anything. Okay. All he has are 13 keys, and they are just statements. And according to him, if 5 of those statements, 5 or less of those statements are false, the incumbent party wins.
Oh, wow. And it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and
he's been accurate for that long.
Yes.
Wow.
And
so let's hear let's hear the keys.
Wow.
If 6 or more are false, then the opposing party wins.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is that he calls it the party mandate, which is that after the midterm elections, the incumbent party holds more seats in the House of Representatives, than the opposing one. So today, in the U.S. House of Representatives, does the incumbent party have more seats after the midterms compared to the opposition party?
Okay.
The answer is no. The Republicans have more seats.
So that goes against the ruling party.
Against. So that's their first false.
Okay.
So he says true or false. You see, if it's true, you write true. If it's false,
so it's an
false.
assessment of the ruling party. Really?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's the theory.
Yes. So
around
whether the ruling party will retain power or
not.
Okay.
That's the underlying principle. So it's based on the ruling.
So
party.
number 1 is false.
Yeah.
Then
Number 1 is false. Then we go to number 2. He says, the contest. Was there a contest? So we are still on the incumbent party. Did the incumbent party have a primary contest or not?
How do you answer this one?
They didn't have a primary contest. So
but
he says,
this is where he might be getting it wrong.
Okay, what do you think? Yeah.
Technically, they didn't.
Yes.
But it brings me back to political science and the concept of legitimacy.
Right.
Political legitimacy, social legitimacy,
right.
legal legitimacy. What's the other legitimacy? Political, social, legal,
economic.
Forgotten the rest. So you may have legal legitimacy, but you don't have political legitimacy.
Okay.
You can have economic legitimacy. That's a theory in political
science.
Social. So you have legal legitimacy if you come to power by a coup.
Okay.
You don't have legal legitimacy if you come to power by a coup, but you might have popular legitimacy.
Yeah.
So that's what happened in Niger and those places. They have popular legitimacy, but they don't have legal legitimacy.
Right.
Now, Kamala Harris's rise to the ticket, can we really say there was no contest? When arms were twisted, people were told to shut up. That's the thing. I mean, what he's talking about is when the thing comes out of the people, that we all agree that this is our candidate. We are not going to go to primaries. That's the point he's making.
Yes.
Did all the Democrats agree that this is our candidate? At least Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden did not agree.
Right. No, but he's looking at on the surface.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
on the surface, everything was okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So we give that as a true.
Yeah. Or technically, did they go through the primary process?
Technically, they didn't.
They didn't. Yes. They
so
didn't
that's a true. Yes.
So that's T, right? So then the next one is incumbents. Then the incumbent party candidate is the sitting president. So that
How
means.
do you answer that? Is it true?
No, it's false.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't get that. Because the candidate of the incumbent party, right, is not the sitting president.
The sitting vice president. Does it make a difference?
A big difference.
He has answered that question.
Yeah.
When he did Al Gore, did he put Al Gore as incumbent?
He didn't. Because
he did not. Okay.
He did not. Yes.
So Al Gore was vice president. So that's a false.
Yeah. So that's a false.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a false.
Let's move on.
So we've done the white.
3.
Yeah, we've done 3. The incumbent party didn't have seats, so that's a false. That's a red. The sitting president. Yeah, there was no primary, so that's still.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true for the ruling party.
That's true for the ruling
party. I have
party.
false, true.
Okay. So let's move on. Then the third party. There is no significant third party or independent campaign.
No, there's not.
There's not. We all agree. Because he feels if there's a third party, it can affect
the ruling.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think
but now there's not. There used to be JFK, but he has dropped out and endorsed.
But that must be factored into the analysis. So whilst we say there's not, he must introduce a second paragraph in that one, a second line of the same line item of the fourth ruling, whether there's a that if somebody started and had joined one of the parties, what does it mean? But JFK started and he's joined the opponent. He's joined the opposition.
Yeah, he said he won't do it. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, so we call that true.
Yeah, there is no significant.
There's no significance. Yeah,
true.
so true.
Yeah, there's no.
So there are 3 truths now.
Yes. Short-term economy, and this is the statement. The economy is not in recession during the election campaign.
It's not in recession.
Yeah, the US is not.
It's not in recession.
So
but the people are angry. They are unhappy with it.
But there's no.
But it's not in recession.
It's not recession.
When he says it's not in recession, what does he mean? if he's not careful, this election is going to test this thing. Because the Republicans are campaigning on the economy. I think he means with no recession that people are happy with the economy. I don't know whether that's what he's saying.
So he explained it. I listened to him, and he says that thing is getting people confused. And that people are calling him out on it. And he said he's not talking about whether people are happy with the economy.
He's talking about recession.
He's just talking about recession.
So it's a true.
Yes. So there is no significant. No. Okay. The economy is not in recession. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 truths already.
Okay. Long term. So now this is the long term economy. I think that's the one you like. Real per capita economic growth during the term equals or exceeds the mean growth during the previous 2 terms, and real per capita income is the GDP.
No, that's a false. That's a false.
Yeah, GDP divided by the population.
Yes, so that's a false.
So you are saying the real per capita economic growth it does not equal or exceed Trump's time?
Yes, no, it doesn't. Oh, that's obvious.
Okay, but
that's the Republican campaign. That look at Trump, look at this.
Yes, but for him, okay. So you are saying
okay. So I put it as a false. He puts it as a true.
Yeah, he puts it as a true.
Oh no! Professor Lichman should come again.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll take it true.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
So at this stage, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 true. 1 true more. Kamala Harris wins.
Okay. Policy change. The incumbent administration effects major changes in national policy. What do you think?
I think they have.
Yeah, they had the American Recovery Act,
Yeah,
the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, they have
the inflation reduction bill.
They have. That's a true.
Yeah,
that's a true. So already we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're there.
So we shouldn't do that.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, number 8, social unrest. There is no sustained social unrest.
There is false. Okay. So.
Okay, you are saying
Arab
there is.
War. Oh, he puts it as no social unrest.
Yes.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of life received into the spirit of a man. Whoa! This divine life in the heart of a man makes him righteous, it keeps him healthy, divinely guided in life, prosperous and victorious. It gives you the ability to enjoy intimate fellowship with the Father and have dominion on this earth. Hallelujah.
Yes, in every generation on the earth, God sends special
candidate, she is charismatic or a national hero?
I think she's charismatic.
You think so?
I think for a lot of people, she is.
Charismatic is difficult to tell, but national hero, I'm not sure.
Kamala
is charismatic. She smiles quite a bit.
Because of the youth and how she expresses herself, and I think how she's gaining more young voters regarding social media and the fact that she's mixed and everything. So that's why I think some people think.
When he talks about charisma, it's like a national, broad-based appeal or a certain emotional connection, like a movement.
Not in that way.
Yeah, so you think so. So well, we can give it to her, but
not in the way you defined it.
Yeah.
But Professor Lichman gave it to her.
No, he didn't.
But in any case, there's 7 truths.
So and she has to be like a national hero, like John.
Okay,
no.
So let's do 4.
But you know the thing with America is that when you say national hero, you're almost certainly limiting it to military history.
Yeah, that's why he added. That's why he added charisma.
So charisma or national hero. Either,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, someone like Bill Clinton, we can all agree that he's charismatic.
Yes,
he was.
Yeah. But Barack Obama could get national hero status because of a black man.
In addition to the charisma.
In addition to having obvious charisma, Obama has obvious charisma.
And then the last one is the challenging candidate. The challenging party candidate is not charismatic or a national hero.
Oh no, Trump is charismatic. Many people see him as a national hero.
But he's not charismatic.
Supporters. I mean, national.
When you say national hero, you mean the military one. It's going to be very difficult for you to have a politician having that if he started out his politics as either Republican or Democrat. But if you started out as a military like Colin Powell,
Reagan was not military, but he was charismatic.
Yes, Reagan didn't start out as Democrat or Republican. The charismatic, most of them would be, but the national hero is where the issue is.
Yeah.
Reagan can be called a national hero because he started as a film star.
Yeah.
So national hero, you can be military, sports, or film star. If Michael Jordan runs from the Republic, but he's a national hero because of movie.
Yeah.
So when you don't start out as Democrat or Republican, and you come from somewhere, it's only in those circumstances that you can become a national hero. Because if you start as Democrats, Republicans will never see anything good in you. Democrats don't see anything good in Republicans. So if you start out like that, no. Trump, he became a national hero. And his efforts in New York, and he supported both political parties, gave money to Democrats, gave money to Republicans. Yeah. Trump was the most sought after donor when they were doing donors conferences in New York. If Trump didn't come to your meeting, and he was saying that I gave Hillary Clinton
to operationalize it. So the national hero are the kind of people who win the national medals and the national award.
There's evidence you have to have the medal.
Yeah.
You don't have the medal, no, national hero.
Well, I mean, we are operational.
Michael Jordan have a medal. Does
Michael
Jordan have a medal?
Yeah, most the sports people, when they get inducted into the Hall of Fame, I mean,
sometimes they do.
Does Bill Gates have it?
Of course.
Bill Gates have it?
I can confirm.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying is that Trump was
if Gates
popular.
runs as president, he's a national hero.
Exactly.
Because he's an IT expert. He's attained his heroism. Same as Trump, business entrepreneur.
Filings, the civil case in New York.
Until he becomes
that showed
politician.
that he didn't pay taxes.
All that is true, but
and that
until you become politician, nobody talks about that.
He overvalued his properties and all of that.
When Colin Powell became politician, they said that he killed people innocently in Iraq. When he became
a politician,
it is
the truth is the truth.
No, the truth was not coming out until you say, I am Democrat, I am Republican. Oh, yeah, you are Republican. Okay, we'll show you the name of your mother and your grandmother.
Yeah, so we put all of that together.
So you put that together,
yes.
The only hero you can find, perhaps, Is the medal.
If you discovered something or you are an inventor, yes, something like that,
That's what
you know,
I'm
and
saying,
you are recognized by the country.
Medal. Bill Gates may not have had.
I'm not saying you have to have a
But he's
medal,
an
but
American
you
hero.
need to have broken such
Steve
grounds.
Jobs is an American hero. Elon Musk is an American hero, but he's political.
Right.
So Democrats thing.
Yeah.
People will see him. I think Professor Lichman is asking, do people see him as a national hero? If you answer that, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Bill Gates is obviously.
So you say Trump is a national hero?
In terms of what he did before, but now they won't say that because you have become politician.
Okay.
But in 2015, when Democrats was Republican.
Is he charismatic?
Oh, yeah,
No.
Huh? Trump?
No. No, he's not.
Yes.
I don't feel like he
Only
is.
to his supporters. And charismatic has to cut across.
But is there anybody who is charismatic to his opponents?
Well, I mean, what we mean is that across the broad swath, generally speaking,
Hitler was
charismatic, right? Yeah. So when they talk about that, it just means across board, generally speaking.
Yes, but I will say that Trump is.
Okay, you don't think so?
He doesn't look for words when he's talking. He doesn't think long before he talks. He's articulate, he's eloquent, he understands American language, he's able to mobilize.
Like, don't think that he's charismatic.
It doesn't mean he's saying the right things.
No, not even that. Even his presence, because it's more about presence and character. Like, we don't find him charismatic.
Give me an example of who's charismatic. Like how you see it.
Well, Obama was definitely charismatic. Bill Clinton. It was more like he's handsome for a lot of people, more than charismatic.
Yes.
Yes, I think that was more about beauty than charisma. Yeah.
Is Mandela charismatic?
100%.
Why?
Black man. I mean, black man. No.
See, so the charisma is answered.
That's why Trump is not.
We are answering the question with morality and ethics. Trump is immoral, therefore he's not charismatic.
I think so.
But I don't tell myself that I'm assessing him morally. Okay. I don't want anything good with him. He's so immoral.
Okay.
I don't.
So let's give him charismatic.
So he's not charismatic.
No.
Hitler is immoral, so he's not.
It was because that's
because amazing charisma. I don't think that in the 21st century there's anybody more charismatic than Adolf Hitler.
But I think it was because he was magnetic with his way of speaking. You know, his pitch.
That's an important part of charisma.
But Trump hasn't. But he. That I think
the big day of uniting the world and uniting America. After he takes an oath, the first sentence he says that he's reminding the whole world that America is for Americans.
Yes.
So everybody pushes him away. But the American people were yelling at him. This is their hero.
Right. Yeah, national hero. That's more. Yeah, that's true.
Before the inauguration, they said that this is about the forgotten people of the world. This is your victory.
Right.
We didn't vote. We are not Americans. But that's the way in which he gets outsiders who are not Americans. And when I heard the statement, I said, wow. This is what he said. He said, it's not about the people here. It's me on radio in Uganda. Named places in Kenya, Mombasa. He said, Koforidua in Ghana. He said something. The guy is brutal. He said places in Singapore. He said, this is your victory.
Yeah.
And it was real. It was amazing. All the international news networks don't believe in that. He's just saying it to get the crowd.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, has Trump achieved anything of consequential nature that has affected humanity in a positive way?
Oh, he gave a lot of money to Africa. He was
How
almost
much money
the worst things about
Africa?
but he gave a lot of money
How
to
much
Africa.
money did Trump give to America?
Really?
He actually ignored Africa,
No,
derogated it,
no, yes,
called it a
that's
shithole.
the difference.
Yeah.
He said the worst things about Africa, but he gave a lot of money to Africa.
It's true.
Trump,
He did more for
Trump
Africa
did
than Obama, actually.
Okay,
so wait,
but Trump was the one who
wait.
said the worst things about Africa.
Yeah. But we need to confirm that if Trump actually did.
Oh, I just said it. Oh, okay, tomorrow I'll get it for you.
If 6 or more of the keys are against the party in the White House,
they lose.
It is
1,
predicted
2,
to lose.
3,
if it's
4,
against.
5, 6, 7 are for them. Actually, 8.
Yeah, so we can.
So that's the conclusion.
Yeah. So is that your conclusion?
That some of the keys that he says true, we have to look at.
Yeah,
it.
so
Or
people
he
can
has
do
to clarify the keys a bit more. You see, it's become more dynamic. Social media and the assessment of all of these have become more limited.
Right.
So if I take football, for instance, and I don't know what I know about football, but we used to know people who scored goals, name of the goal scorer, but now they develop another.
I don't think
and
so.
Maybe
I think what
increase from 13 to say 18.
And maybe we can do that, kind of an improvement upon it. But for him, this is what has worked. I mean, people have said so many things.
But
and he says,
I'm wondering if we
just
use it for
stick to
Ghana,
it.
what's going to happen?
Oh, we can try it.
We won't do
maybe
it
not
today.
today.
We won't do it today, but
Yes.
we use it for Ghana and said, according to Professor Lichman, this is going to win.
Yes.
Okay, do you have one more question? Schedule your
Yes, my question was, is it only for American, like the keys?
Yes.
So I think that's why it's working for them, that it's more generalized. Because American, with all respect that I have for the nation, don't really go into don't really go that much into the details, I think. Like the way I see things as an half African European child is that in Europe we were born and raised to really like analyze and go into the details and be really cultured and read a lot of books and, you know, get to know the world and the history. But in America, the education is different. So I think that's why these keys being generalized actually work for America.
You studied in Ohio. Is American education general?
Iowa.
Iowa. Is American education general, like she's saying? Did you find that?
Yeah, I was trying to understand what you meant by general.
I feel like America, the USA are more like ethnocentered. You know, like I think you said something earlier about that. Like we don't really in America we don't really like get into the details of history of other countries. As much
of other countries, yes, they in America more.
Yeah, of course they have.
But Europe does that. Europe gets the history of Portugal when you're in France.
Oh yeah, about like a lot of countries. We go into the details of a lot of subjects and topics actually.
Well, so that are not directly connected to France.
Not necessarily.
So it's preparing you to be
the education. Those who go to school, there's a lot of exposure. There's a lot of global thinking or global identity, global mindset that goes into the education. The training is very critical. It's based on using your critical mind to think, to solve problems. And they think globally, they call the non-college educated.
Yeah.
You know, some of them may not be as global in their thinking, and these are the kind of people that Trump tries to appeal to. The nativists, the nationalists, the protectionist people who believe in the protectionist policies and all of that. So maybe what we can say is that the keys have worked for the US. You have to control for the social and the cultural context under which those theories operate. And that's why knowledge is fascinating, it's interesting. If we can take this and modify it or readapt it and orient it qualitatively to see if it will suit different, it's right here. Because if we could do that and see if we could apply it to, let's say, Nigeria, if we could apply it to France, or a group of researchers can sit down and then relook at the stuff and see how we can reorient our thinking about elections in a very qualitative sense, the various social and economic peculiarities of the countries that we are looking for. It might give us a bit more insight and a bit more knowledge into campaigns and
just
elections.
before I go to text messages, I have some messages here. He says, Donald Trump has also changed the landscape. He says Shapiro is a Democrat politician, and that Shapiro is not your typical conservative Jew who is really savvy because he embraces majority Democrats' philosophy and policies. Shapiro is a good representation of a much broader Democrat because that he says you can't be narrowly left and win Pennsylvania that easily. Professor H should get the antecedents and the evolution dynamics properly, but he's doing well. Okay, let me
he said you can't be left and win.
A swing, so you have to be middle.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, we never said that.
Okay. Yeah. Let me take two text messages and wrap up on the show. It's almost 11:30. Who should I start with, please? Anzaba, what are people saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. We have Fred Mensah saying, Trump will push fuel prices down, which will help the world, especially in countries like Ghana. Lastly, from the start of the war in Gaza, he stopped bringing Al Hassan Bello for international analysis. Please, we need him back to get people to understand the current crisis at the world stage. Over to you, Ella.
All right. So Francis Mensah says, Paul always defends Trump. Trump is not even charismatic. And this one is from...
By Trump to leave it to the states to decide has brought the Republicans back stronger in that debate. Based on these, Trump is winning. As for CNN, they have always been towards the blue.
So it's 11:30. We'll be back on Tuesday, isn't it? Tara will still be here. Tara will still be in Ghana on Tuesday. Excellent. And then she'll do the presentation. Don't worry if you didn't see Antoinette. She's here. She's speaking Chinese with Tarek in the corner there. She's doing Ni Hao and Chiwa. Sorry. I didn't mean anything. Mandarin there. You can come. Fatih, why are you doing aid? Do you want to go to the Roman Ridge to learn Ni Hao? Viewers, it's a pleasure having you for the program on Tuesday and Thursday. It's always a pleasure. See you next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.